It's not clear yet. We're gonna try to get this thing cleaned up a little bit.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Napoleon, like anyone can even know that.
Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Well, here's the $250 Kawasaki Concours, and it's $275 now. So before I put a whole lot more money in it, I'm gonna try to get some stuff cleaned up on it. That windshield, of course, but we got some stuff to remove and simplify, that sort of thing. And I don't know, I might do a little bit of the tune-up stuff in this video as well. So let's just get started, all right? And this is part of the stuff I'm going to remove. I haven't even looked this up, this cycle comm, but I know it's some sort of a communication system, and there's wires and stuff running everywhere. So I am going to take off the tank and the seat. I'll take that windscreen off, all the extra wiring goodies. I like this little pack here, I think, but I'm going to give that to my buddy who has a bike like this as well. And probably strip off these lower fairings a little bit here. There's a lot of goop and gunk under there. I noticed some oil smoke coming out of here, so we may have a gasket that needs to be replaced. So I'm going to strip all that stuff down. It's all pretty straightforward if you haven't done that on this bike before. And I'm going to just start tracing these wires out. There's a whole bunch of extra wires plugged into the battery. So I'm going to try to trace them all out and remove the majority of that electronic stuff, because I don't know what all of it does. And like I said, a lot of it is outdated stuff. And here's a prime example of what I'm talking about. We got all these other accessory items and wires going everywhere. I didn't even hook some of these things up here. Same thing, things going everywhere. I don't know. It stresses me out, mostly because you could have failures of all this stuff, and it could cause problems. So I'm just going to slowly start to track this stuff down. Some is going to have to stay on here. Obviously, I would like to keep the trailer wiring, so I need to follow that. I think that might actually just be plugged in right back here, so that's kind of nice. But I see this looks like it's part of the communications system right there. This thing, I can't quite get to it, but I'm gonna slowly start tracing this stuff down, pulling it off one by one. And I don't think it's really worth keeping. In the modern day, we have nice wireless communications. These wired headsets, probably okay, but I just don't see it getting utilized. So I'm not gonna cut any wires if I can help it. The stuff might be worth keeping, I don't know, but if not, no big deal. So when I say that all this wiring and stuff kind of stresses me out, this is kind of part of the reason why. We've got these, I think they call these things Scotch lock wiring adapters, and or a tap lock, and they pierce through the insulation of your existing wiring. I don't like that. I've used them many times. They are lazy, and part of the problem is that they pierce through the insulation, so they cause corrosion. But I've got most of this stuff removed. I'll get these remaining ones removed, and then I'll show you all the stuff I took off of here. Well, there's all the spaghetti that are removed here. This harness right here, this mess, for the most part, is for these little lights that are up underneath here. And I was able to get that working. I plugged it in there. I may hold on to that harness, but I'm going to trim it up and make it better, because that's kind of crap. But as you can see, I took the lower fairings off. There's a lot of stuff in here, but everything looks a lot nicer and neater. This thing, I am not 100% sure SOS Priority Plus. It's all wired, it looks like, back into the lighting back here. So that might have to do with the trailer wiring. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. And that's all held in with those Scotch locks as well. Right here you can see why I don't like the Scotch locks. Tap locks, whatever you call them. But everything is neater and cleaner now. I don't believe we were going to be using any of that stuff. I broke this, unfortunately. This little cover broke. Might have to see if I can get another one or just tape that on there, unfortunately. Maybe Velcro. But now we can push this thing outside. I'm going to hit it with the hose and start cleaning it. Oh, I'll take the windscreen off as well. You can see I've knocked a lot of that gunk out of there. Cleaned it up okay. Knocked a lot of the loose dirt off. I'm gonna hit it with some soap and water. Surprisingly, like, the body work on this thing is pretty clean, pretty good shape. The exhaust pipe's got some rust, so we're gonna try a little bit of light Scotch-Brite on that. Still got some spiders hanging out on here. And still some leaves that haven't completely came out yet, but for the most part, we knocked the big chunks off. If you've never taken one of these motorcycle windscreens off before, they have these kind of captive nut things, well nuts sometimes they're called. And a couple of those fell out in here. I don't know if I'll ever find them, but I'll probably just have to pick up some replacements. So you can see one right here. These kind of just press in there. Maybe I'll find them, maybe I won't. They dropped in here into the depths of hell as it is. That's okay, those things are pretty cheap. And I think I have some laying around too, so it looks like I'm missing 2 of them. 1, 2. That one has a nut on the back. So we'll see. Okay, it's as cleaned up as I am going to get it. I want to make sure nobody believes that this is some sort of a restoration. This is just a, let's get this thing cleaned up, maintained, and safe, and ride it, because there's a million of these bikes. There's no reason to spend a whole lot of time or money on one. You find these things for sale pretty cheap. Not $250 cheap always, but sometimes you do. You can see some of that rust came off of there. Some didn't. Maybe I'll try some WD-40 and some Scotch-Brite later. I'm not overly concerned about it. Tires, of course, got to come off anyway. This one's rustier than that one. But if a person cared about it, you could take that exhaust system off, clean it up, and paint it with some like barbecue paint, that sort of thing. So for now, we're going to call that good. We knocked most of the remnants of critters and leaves and stuff off. I guess not all of them. Look at that. Must be some rodents that were in there. I didn't see any evidence of wire damage though, so that's good. So far the only things that I've left on it that are non-stock is this, which I'm probably going to remove. Actually, I think I'll remove that right now. I just don't like where it is, and it's all rusty inside. And I left a voltmeter on the other side panel here, and that's tapped into this light. I don't really care for that, but whatever, it's in there. This thing is plugged into what I think is a factory accessory plug down here, so I can unplug it and move it somewhere else. So I'm going to take that out, and then we're going to start working on the windscreen. I suppose there's about a dozen different ways a person could do this. I don't have any real good stuff for this. I have some different kind of clear coat things, and I have a dual action buffer deal with a soft pad. So I'm going to try that. Worst case scenario, well, you know what? It's not going to be no worst case scenario. It's pretty bad. I don't think it's going to get worse. So we're going to try this for a little while, and I'll show you what it looks like after a couple minutes of work on it. Okay, this is after less than 5 minutes, and you can see it's very cloudy still, but it's not yellow. So I'm going to continue on, and I guess what I've learned so far is that I need to update my cleaning supplies. I don't do a whole lot of this kind of stuff, but having some stuff around would be not too bad. Of course, I live close to auto parts store, so it's not a big deal, but I can use up some of this old stuff that I've got. I think we'll get this thing pretty acceptable. Okay, I'm putting her back together here. I think I'm gonna just pull this mirror off. This one's pretty corroded, that one's not bad. And I'll just scuff it real quick. Give it just a couple of coats of flat black or semi-gloss, whatever I've got. I've been hitting up this plastic. I use this 303 aerospace protection. It seems to work pretty good. I don't know if you saw how dingy this stuff was. It was pretty gray. And this will bring it back, but it's going to get gray again. You just can keep putting multiple coats of this stuff on there, and it will improve it. So I'll get this mirror off. I think it's just a couple of bolts here. I can't remember. It's been a while since I took one of these off. Clean that up and continue putting this together. Well, it ain't perfect, but it's considerably better. This bike looks good enough to be proud of it at this point. I mean, there's a lot more a person could do, but yeah, you can see I can put some more 303 protectant on here. This is going to come around quite a bit. It's already much better. There's a hole here. There was a power outlet there. I may put that back on. I threw some new used grips that I had hanging out. Put some paint on these bar ends. Didn't prep them very much at all. Not a great job, but it's better than being rusty. And you can see that's still hazy. I'm going to pick up some plastic polishing stuff. Maybe like a headlight polishing kit. Put the side panels on. I put some stuff on the seat, even though this seat is pretty much trash. It's splitting apart. It's very crispy, but maybe that'll save it. I threw one saddlebag on there. So you get a look at it. Yeah, I think with a little bit more work on that windscreen, this thing will be nice to ride and nice to look at. Now, yeah, the hand grips definitely make all the difference in the world. The last ones, your hands stuck to them. I didn't do a very good job painting this either. I'll probably take it off and repaint it. I did a really terrible job, actually. And I got some water inside of there, so that kind of sucks. But anyway, took all these wires off, cleaned the bike up. It's definitely worthy of doing some more work and spending some money on it. You know, I just wanted to really get started by taking that stuff out. But the next thing I'm going to do is do a full service on this thing. So oil change, probably do spark plugs. I'll probably check the valves. I'll probably sync the carburetors. And we'll do a rear differential oil change as well. So stick around for that one. Okay, it's been a very satisfying day getting this bike cleaned up and making it look better. Very presentable. I mean, $275 bike, ladies and gentlemen, at this point. $250 to purchase it, $25 for a fuel valve. Of course, I've been using some of my own stuff in there. It's my battery is in there, and let's see, brake fluid and all the cleaning supplies and carburetor cleaner, that sort of stuff. But we're just gonna go with hard parts for the price because, you know, if you're working on stuff, you probably have that stuff around. And, you know, if I work on stuff for friends, I usually don't upcharge on consumable items like that. But there she is. So stick around. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a maintenance video on this as well. All right, if you are enjoying my content, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you are not already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.